Um,
Llama talk. What's
Llama
up,
talk.
dude? Big Brother Canada 3. How's it going? Blah.
Can we do that? Can we do that for Big Brother?
Well, it's still the name of the podcast.
Okay.
I mean, we have to agree that Tony would do fantastic on Big Brother. I mean, actually, probably
Uh,
not.
yeah, too old. He might be a little too old,
I think
but
Donnie would do fantastic on Survivor.
Donnie would do
But
fantastic on Survivor.
he should have won. So he would have had more success. Man, that guy is fantastic. But we're not talking about BBU. I just realized now I'm wearing a USA shirt.
What the fuck, man?
It's like
Are you
probably
trying to send a message or something?
no. I love Big Brother. I like it. I like the first two seasons more than basically every season of the U.S. And Canada is probably the better country than ours anyway. I want to make waves here, and
Yeah.
so is Sweden, FYI. Uh, but
It, it makes me sad knowing that I can never apply for Big Brother Canada unless I get a citizenship in Canada. Because it really is. Like, the first two seasons are fucking amazing. First one was okay. It was better than, like, most Big Brother US seasons. And the second one was just fucking amazing. It was amazing. Great season. And I'm so pumped for this one.
I'm hoping that if anything, Big Brother Canada has more of a positive impact on Big Brother USA because the last two seasons for 15 and 16, I really don't think it did in terms of casting or twists. I feel like the Big Brother 16 cast was definitely a step up from the 15 cast, um, which was a step down from the 14 cast. But I think that the
Yeah.
casting for Big Brother USA has been horrible in comparison to Canada. So, and I think that carries over for this cast. Like, I'm pretty excited about this cast. I wasn't in it preseason the last few seasons for Canada. I just like kind of started watching BB Canada a few months ago. So I don't really know how I would have perceived those casts if I was looking at them like how I am now.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty excited for this cast. There's some people I'm rooting for right off the bat, and some people I think are going to make waves. I
Yeah.
don't see that many boring people.
Yeah. I mean, I watched Big Brother Canada 2. That's when I first started watching, right when it was coming out. And like obviously I would stream it because I'm in the U.S. But I'd still watch it and stuff. And I remember when the cast for Big Brother Canada 2 was released, like everyone seemed like so dopey to me, and they were like all so different in the house. Like John was nothing like what I thought he was gonna be. Arlie was like freaking awesome, and Netta, I never thought Netta would be like as good as she was, and she's fucking came out of nowhere. And you know, as good as we are at predicting things preseason, which is pretty shitty, which isn't saying much, there are like going to be a lot of people that are going to surprise us and stuff. So, by the way, this is a draft. So this is our fantasy draft. I don't know if we said that, but yeah, we're going to be picking players um, to be on our team and try to win us this season. Yeah.
Yeah, I've won the Jack. We started this for Survivor 27, which is Blood versus Water. Jack won that. Jack also won Cagayan, but I won San Juan del Sur, so he got the first pick for Survivor 30, which he's beating me at now. Um, and for Big Brother 16, which was the first Big Brother draft we did, Jack absolutely kicked my ass. So I'm not the best at fantasy drafts, but Big Brother Canada is a completely separate one. I don't get first pick. Well, I might get first pick. How we're going to decide it is that I didn't have a coin to flip. I just had Mancala, so we have like a few beads. Kind of, this is I'm red green colorblind, so this is kind of reddish burgundy-ish to me. This is Canadian colors. I did it in the spirit of Canada, despite not knowing this laundry day. I was wearing a USA shirt. I love Canada. I wish I could live there.
Well, you're
But
sucking up to Canada way too much.
I'm second. Whatever. I'm pumped for the season. I would live there just for Big Brother. That's how much
It's
the season's
I'm pumped for this
in
season too.
comparison. Yeah, Big Brother USA needs to step it up. Like, come on. Like, seriously, the last cast, Derek running the whole entire game, horrible to watch. Horrible to watch, especially because he wasn't on my fantasy team. But so I'm just gonna like shuffle these around, and Jack, you can pick white or red, and I'll hold up my hand, and we can see if you're right. If you're right, you get first pick.
Okay, I'm gonna go with red. Ah, fuck me. I knew I should have gone with white.
I mean, I don't know if I'm my first pick. I think you're probably gonna get your first pick anyway. I don't know if you liked my person, but the first person I'm picking for my team is Godfrey. Uh,
Okay.
I don't think he's gonna win. I it, I just like him as a character. He's smart. He's a psych major. I I like his I like the Zimbabwe accent. I like hearing him talk. Um, I think he's smart and he's devious, but I feel like he's kind of playing it up
Mhm.
for the cameras right now. So he's gonna tone it down when he's in a social situation.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna jump out on people's radars right off the bat. And I think he's savvy enough to make strategic moves. And like honestly, with Big Brother, it's so hard to tell because how they like it's so much harder to tell preseason how they're going to actually be in the house. I think for Survivor, you can get a little bit more of a sense, but it's like night and day for Big Brother.
Well, I
But
mean, for Survivor, they've already gone through the season and everything, and they know who to promote in the promos and stuff like that, and like you can really see like Jeff's like picks and stuff like that. But for this, we really don't have anything like that because it's like all live and stuff, and that's what makes it like really interesting. That's what makes like preseason really like a lot more legit than Survivor, I guess. Because it's you really can't tell who's gonna win.
but what do you think about Godfrey? I didn't think that you would pick him first. I I who knows? I probably could have gotten away with picking him fourth or fifth, but I don't know. I just think he's going to be fun. He's going to be a fun character, and he's certainly unlike anything I've seen on Big Brother before,
Yeah.
which kind of made me interested in him. Like I haven't seen a guy like this on the show before, and I think that I don't know. It just seems like less just one-dimensional than a lot of Big Brother contestants that they normally put on.
Yeah. I like your pick for Godfrey. I think I wouldn't have picked him first, but I really like his character, and I think that's a really bold pick for the first one. There's things about Godfrey that I really like. It's a double-edged sword for me, Godfrey, because it's like, oh, he really wants to stir shit up. He always says like he wants to like mess with everyone, plant things, but make sure people don't see him, and that can be really dangerous. But that's also like really good TV, and if you can pull that off with this like psychology background and stuff like that, I can see him like if there's someone that can do it, it's probably gonna be him. And I
Yeah,
really
it's
like his
kind of
character.
yeah. I'm
What
kind
do
of
you
going
think?
all or nothing with Godfrey. I think that like he could just be playing the production game right now, like a lot of people do preseason, how they're just given production what they know they want, and when they're in that house, they don't have to do shit anymore. They can do whatever the hell they want. To a degree, I mean, certainly they get pressured in the diary room, and there's stuff we don't see that production may influence the game. I don't know how it differs from Canada and the U.S., but
Hmm.
so he might just be playing it up because he knows that's kind of it started working in casting that he felt like they were really liking that oh, I'm gonna mess with these people's minds. I'm a psych major type of thing. But I feel like he knows Big Brother. I think that he is socially pretty interesting. He's not gonna immediately come off as kind of like a douchebag like Alec from Big Brother Canada 1, who's like, oh yeah, I'm a psychology student and this that. Like he's not going to come off in quite like a pretentious, pompous way. Shield, yeah. Um, and I don't know. I'm rooting for him, and I hope he does well. I hope he does well. I think that I don't see him going home too early. I don't see him going home in the first few weeks. But
one thing I'm gonna say though is that I really like about Godfrey is he watched the Big Brother Canada and Big Brother Africa. So I don't know if like I'm pretty sure it's like a completely different game, but he's
mhm.
like seen it before in Africa, and I feel his his foreign like background could really help him, and he like because I just like his personality. You know, he just seems like a bright guy that like you want to be around. I think that can really help him in the game, and I think that could help him like with Canada and stuff like that, because like you know how much Canada like influences stuff within the house, where it's like, oh, you know, Canada, who do you want to evict? You know, who do you want to put up? Like last season, they did it with like who was it, Andrew and Sabrina and stuff like that. And so like I think he could really like win over a lot of people by
Yeah,
just
and
being
I
himself.
think if I was in a room with like these people, I don't know. I feel like I just want to talk to Godfrey and want to hear more about him and just like want to hang out with him, want to be friends with him because he is different and he seems interesting to me. I feel like a lot of the other people, it's just like, oh, Bobby, yeah, you slackline, you do this, you do like, it's like, but I want to hear about, oh, you grew up in Zimbabwe, like, how is that? How is that different from how we perceive, that part of Africa? How, like, why'd you move to Canada? It's like, it's not just someone who's like born and raised in Calgary, like a lot of like Calgary through and through. I don't know a thing about Canada, but um, I feel like Godfrey would just be an interesting guy to get to know, and I'm hoping that's how the other contestants feel also.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good first pick. It's a good
Okay,
first pick.
so you have picks number 2 and 3. The draft's gonna work that it goes 1, 2, 3, then I get 4, 5, and then so on and so forth until
Mhm.
I'm stuck with the last. That Jack leaves me with the last pick, which I know who he's gonna saddle me with. I've already mentally
You,
prepared for that.
you know who I'm gonna get you?
I
Um,
know who you're gonna give me.
did you look at the spoilers and stuff that came out?
No, when does wait? Are they already in the
So
house?
yeah, I'm gonna tell you the spoilers. So they already entered the house for premiere, people taping, and I like read on like Big Brother Online and stuff. Spoiler alert! If you don't want to listen to it, skip like I
Okay,
don't know.
please tell me that Godfrey did get put up on the block.
No.
Okay.
So what they did was it's kind of like Big Brother 10, where they like all like went in and then they like started voting for like just a random like who they wanted to put on the block and stuff. And so there were like a lot of people voted for Sydney. A lot of people voted for Sydney on like first glance and stuff. And then people voted for Risha, or is it Risha or whatever, the
I think
older
it's
woman.
Risha.
And so those are the two on the block right now. And
Okay.
apparently Canada is going to decide who goes home. And
Okay.
by majority, I think it's probably going to be Sydney.
Yeah,
So,
that's. I mean, I like like
yeah, Sydney.
16. Like, no, I just like hated her in interviews. She was like,
Yeah,
she just screamed like Suzette and like just like these like worthless
yeah.
people. Um, so yeah, we'll just pencil her in for 16 for me.
But
But
I mean,
I'm glad. Like, I
there's
think
still the
that
veto.
I mean, there's still the veto, and I think that'd be
Yeah.
smart to keep her because like I mean, she could be a Victoria in the season and just drag her along to third place. And that's kind of I'm not shocked to hear that Risha um, got
Yeah.
nominated, but I thought she was okay in interviews.
Yeah, I feel like Canada would probably like her a lot over Sydney and stuff like that, you
And
know?
yeah, I hope that out of those two, if it stays the same after POV, Cindy goes home because, and I don't think that necessarily puts Risha in a bad position.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, you see people who go up on the block in the first few weeks and don't go home. They're normally, safe for a while because, like, oftentimes in the, fourth or fifth week, it gets to the point where, like, well, you haven't been on the block yet, or like, why don't you be a pawn, or why don't you do this? And then once you
Unless
have,
you're Derek. Unless you're
yeah,
Derek.
unless you're fucking Derek, where they're just like, yo, man, like, I have a pig nose, like, don't put me on the block, and they're like, oh yeah, Derek, like,
Wow.
okay, that was below the belt, but I just really
You
was
just
sticking
really
to
didn't
it.
like that season, you know?
I didn't like that season. It's like it was just dragged on forever, and it's like I have to watch 45 episodes of Derek and like 140 million days of nothing on the live feeds, and it's just like, come
Yeah.
on. And I just wanted to scream at the TV because it was like in Survivor One World. Some people compare it to Survivor One World, where like Kim just ran
Yeah.
the show. I think that there was some opposition and some effort in like you
Yeah.
know at least Troyzan tried to get Kim out. At least people were annoyed at Kim at the end, and were snarky to her at the final jury, and like I think Alicia might have tried to vote her off if she
Mhm.
wasn't voted off herself. Like it wasn't just, and especially like not even being nominated, and like people
Yeah.
wrote down Kim's name at Tribal, trying to get her out, but it's like no one even would put Derek up as a pawn. I mean, it was impressive, obviously, but it wasn't entertaining.
It
And
was it was really it's really fucking creepy to me that he was able to brainwash all those people to a point where all of the final six wanted to take him to the end because they thought they could beat him, and all of them were happy at the end when he won because they're like, oh man, look how good our season was. It's fucking Derek is so scary to me. I would never want to watch Derek play again. That's the thing. I enjoyed watching him play. I think he's an amazing player, but I would never want to see him again because he wouldn't play the same, and it would be probably fucking boring. You know?
yeah, and I think that I'd be scared to play with Derek because honestly, I think that like there was a large part of the game that was like intimidation factor. Like Derek, when he's talking to you, I feel like he can get kind of intense, and he is kind of an intimidating guy,
Yeah.
even even though that he knows he's a police officer. And I think the challenge for people like Derek, it's like getting on the show. Like once for some odd reason, they cast him because like I just feel like they just cast him because he's an undercover cop and they wanted one of those, and really like he was more cast for his job and not really his personality at all.
Yeah.
Um, I think that like people like that and people kind of like Sandra, who for some odd reason get cast on Survivor, or like just these type of people that can just kind of sail on through without really being that entertaining. Yeah, this definitely casting is the challenge,
Hmm.
but I don't know. We'll see. What's your first pick? The second and third pick
Okay.
overall.
My first pick, I'm mostly going pretty bold. Um, I thought you'd pick him, but you didn't, and I'm pretty happy about that. But I'm gonna pick. I don't know if he'll do good. He could totally fail. I'm gonna pick Kevin.
I had Kevin. I was gonna pick him first, but I thought to myself, okay, this is a draft. This is a fantasy draft. I see different ways that this can go for a first pick. He could, completely run the game like Will Kirby and win, but he's still not going to win any competitions. And in Big Brother, the fantasy draft we do, you know, as much as we would like to give points to like great gameplay or great social games, we can't because we can't really quantify that. So comp wins does help you a lot.
Yeah.
In the reason why I picked Godfrey first is I felt like he would be more well-rounded in that department, and I
Hmm.
felt like Kevin, although I did have him in my top three, like I was gonna pick him if you didn't. I
Yeah.
think that there's a danger in him just being a complete poser, you know. But I think on face value, he likes Arlie, which is my favorite in BB Can 2, probably one of my favorite contestants ever.
Hmm.
And I think that, I mean, it's a strategy that hasn't really been done since Will, or no one's ever done the throwing competitions and being like completely just open, like I'm throwing everything, like I'm literally not trying for anything. No one's done that except for Will. You've had Dan, who's kind of like for Dan, after every competition he loses, he's like he's kind of like, oh yeah, I threw that, but he's never like forthright with it with the house guests, and I'm not even sure if he's forthright about it with the diary room. He probably sees that he has no chance, then he says it
Yeah.
in the diary room. But I think that that's definitely an interesting strategy,
Hmm.
and it can. I think he's going to be an entertaining person in the season. I don't see him going out early. I think people are going to try to get in with him, but then they might try to cut the head of the snake
Yeah.
come jury time. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I see him kind of maybe having a similar fate to Arlie, because I think Big Brother Canada, they're not afraid to go after the head honcho.
Hmm. But that's the thing. I think Kevin's smart enough not to be the head honcho. And the reason I picked him is because he reminded me, one, because he reminded me so much of Will Kirby. And obviously, we've been wanting to see a Will Kirby again since Big Brother 7. Because I really love how Will Kirby plays. He's so entertaining. It's so masterful to just like watch him like play. Even though he didn't win Big Brother 7, he basically set up Boogie, and it's like freaking amazing. And he just reminded me so much of him with his confidence and the way he moved and stuff in the diet and like the interviews I watched and stuff. And I'm just like, Kevin, you like the one the one thing is I always want to see a Big Brother. I always want to see Will Kirby on Big Brother, and I thought Zach would be Will Kirby, even though Zach was like Will Kirby's mentor. Zach was nothing like Will Kirby from last season, and I mean from Big Brother US 16, not Zach in Big Brother Canada 2. And so like there is a like fault with picking Kevin first, because he could totally burn me. He could burn me like Max did this season of Survivor, and I don't know. That still scares me.
I think that the thing I liked about Kevin a lot is that he seemed like a natural in front of the camera. Like he
Yeah.
seemed really comfortable. Like he was in the right spot. Like he was meant to be there. And I think that people like Kevin, no matter how much they underplay, unless they're really good, like Will somehow he had this target. He said himself like the target was so big on his back that it just like disappeared.
Hmm.
And it takes like a lot of skill that you can't even really like see or understand. You just have it in you to be able to do that. And Will had it and was able to keep that in Big Brother 7 like, throughout the entire game up until the final four. And it's crazy. And I feel like in someone like Netta,
Uh-huh.
if they were on this season, no matter how hard, no matter how great they were, like Arlie,
Hmm.
I think Arlie played perfectly. I don't think he really did. He really did anything wrong to get Netta to be like Arlie is the biggest threat here. Maybe he did do like he actually no one plays perfectly, but I don't know if there's someone that smart, which there might not be, and observant. I
Yeah.
think Kevin's going to have a difficult time not seeming extremely intelligent because he's going to have to talk strategy to people in
Yeah.
order to get further, and he's gonna sound smart.
There's a
But I
lot
feel
of
like he's safe for a while.
there's a lot of big fans on this season too, which is could be Kevin's downfall. But I feel like a lot of players nowadays that watch like Big Brother haven't really seen Will Kirby, and he just so like he reminded me so much of Will Kirby for some reason. I don't know what it is, but like also the one thing about Kirby's strategy is that like when you do that, when you make a move to make your target so big and people take you to the end, like he did in his first season and like he almost did in season 7, there's no going back from that. You can't recover from that. It's as if like Devin could have totally done that last season on Big Brother USA and like made his target so big that everyone wanted to take him because no one would vote for him. It's those type of players that like go out early because they're playing too hard. That's kind of like what Will Kirby did, but Will Kirby like brought it to the next level where everyone like wants to take him, and he took the strategy like so far that he's one of the best players ever to play, hands down the best player to ever play. And
Okay, I have two questions for you.
yeah,
Showmance or no showmance? And then, um, Well, first of all, yeah, just showmance or no showmance? Is it better to have a showmance in the house? What do you think?
I think it's better to have a showmance in the house for sure. I think you can use it to farther your game. You know, when emotions get attached, that's when it can be dangerous. But I think showmance can definitely help you in the house if you like keep it down. You know, you don't let anyone know about your showmance and stuff like that. You don't make it like upfront to everyone so they can pair you together. But I feel like it's still like it can be like a beneficial thing.
I think it can be beneficial, and it's hard to like actually say is because just at face value, I think it's more beneficial for girls because normally they're just like, oh, let's, you know, like the boy in the showmance is the bigger threat, so let's take him out. But then a lot of times they put them both on the block, and then the guy wins veto, and they're just like, oh well, we'll just send the girl out. And like, I think that it's smart if you kind of keep it under wraps for the first half of the game at least. But if I was on the show, I'd say no showmance because it's just something. It's a lot easier to get other people to turn against a showmance than to get other people to want to align with you and your showmance. I mean, sure, like the guys can just be like, "Oh, bros before hoes, man." Like that girl means nothing to me. Like we're tight, and I guess that might make like the guy feel good. But I don't know. Like retrospectively, obviously, a lot of winners have been a part of showmances, and hasn't negatively impacted their game that much. But rarely, I mean, you don't see showmances make it to the final two. And I think that if you're a showmance, you either have to be really, really good at comps, or you have to both suck at comps.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like showmances can really be beneficial for like getting your game farther. I feel like there is a point where showmances become, like they can hurt your game more than they can like farther it, And so most of the time, showmances can benefit one person from it, you know. So
Yeah.
like, for example, like Hayden in Big Brother 12, like the whole like reason they were like targeting him at the beginning was because he has that showmance with I can't remember her name for the life of me, but
Kristen.
Kristen, yeah. And then they voted Kristen out, and suddenly, that took a lot of eyes off him because they're like, oh, how does he have power anymore? Who's gonna back him up? But really, he did have a lot of power in the house. So, yeah.
And my second question is winning the first HOH, because I feel like everyone's always just like, oh, don't want to. I'm throwing every comp because Will Kirby did it, and like we're not all Will Kirbys.
Yeah.
In fact, no one is. There's only one Will Kirby, and they'll only ever like as great as Kevin will be. I think that Will Kirby is the peak, and no one will ever surpass it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan. Like, I know there's probably a lot of people who think Dan is the best player ever, but we're both in agreement that Will is.
It goes Will, and then maybe Dan or Derek, either one.
I would say Will is like 100% fantastic. Then Dan is pretty like there's significant drop off to Dan. And then I would say like there's a pretty steep drop off to Derek. And I think if Derek played again and made it to the end again, he would still be beneath Dan because he wasn't entertaining. But I mean, he's not even close to Dan. I think he's still top 5 players. I think that thinking back, like I would put him at 3.
Yeah.
But he's not even close to Dan, who's not even close to Will.
Well, here's the difference before I get on to your question. Will Kirby would have won Big Brother 7 without a doubt. Dan had no chance of winning Big Brother 14 after he made the Dan funeral move. That's what I think the difference is there. The potential to win. And Dan didn't have potential to win in Big Brother 14.
And Will is the most entertaining house guest to ever play the show.
That's
So
debatable, yeah, but he's up there.
I
Um,
think he's the best. But
your question
so
now.
yeah,
Your
your question.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think I'm gonna let you in a little like Jack secret strategy tip. I think the one HOH that's acceptable to win, unless you actually absolutely need it, is the first HOH. If you can utilize it to its like full potential, because everyone's gonna be like looking at you, for the first, you can get to know a lot of people by being the HOH, and you can get on a lot of people's good side by being the HOH. And sure, you're gonna piss off a few people by putting them on the block, but I feel like the upside is you're gonna make a lot more friends by being the first HOH than you will enemies, and a
Yeah,
lot more lines potential. You
I
know?
mean, I agree with that 1,000,000%. People are always saying don't win the first HOH. I would go there. I would play as hard as I can for the first HOH. If you look historically in, the USA seasons,
Mhm.
Frankie and Kayla were the first few HOHs. They're in the final five, both of them.
Yeah.
And McRae is the first HOH. He's in the final four.
Hmm.
And it's just like goes on and on. Hayden won the first HOH. He wins. I think that people are so like, if I was HOH, honestly, all you have to do, you win HOH, you talk around the house, kind of try and get the group consensus on who's annoying people, and combine that with who is the least like who are the two least likely people to win POV or HOH next week. Then you put both of them on the block. One goes home, and the other person, everyone loves you because you didn't put them on the block,
Yeah.
and you only have one person who's potentially coming after you, and that person is very, not likely to win if they're if they're pathetic, which is what I'm trying to, find out. And I just think that you can make strong alliances. You're not going to be perceived as a floater, which is obviously the terms changed to someone who
Yeah.
goes in between alliances to someone who just does nothing. So you wouldn't be perceived as someone who does nothing,
Mhm.
and you'd automatically gain respect, which
Yeah.
you need initially. So I would be 100% in. I'd rather play Survivor, but
I
um,
yeah. I feel like Kevin's blind side right now is that he doesn't want to win any comps. And I feel like the best thing for him to do to farther his game is to win the first HOH. Now, he might win regardless, or he might just utterly fail. But I feel like he says his problem from watching interviews is getting into people's mind and getting a read on people. I feel like you can get such a good read on people when you're the first HOH because you literally talk to everyone. You literally see where everyone's head is. Everyone comes up to you and like, oh, I don't want to, like go home. Can I like talk to you? Can we like talk about this stuff? And like you talk to people and see like who doesn't like who, where people stand, and that can benefit you so much. That kind of like just information that you could get.
yeah, and I definitely agree. I think that Kevin should be open to winning comps when he feels like he needs to, and even to a degree, if it's the fourth week and you're still kind of playing under the radar, and there's someone like Devin who's just rampaging around the house, and you win the HOH, and it's an easy week, you send him packing. You're still not a threat. You just won one HOH that was kind of like a pathetic HOH, a measly, questionnaire game or something. Then people perceive you as, oh, he fell through with the plan. He was trustworthy when he was HOH. He didn't put me up. And it gains trust. Just like going to Tribal in Survivor, voting for the right people at Tribal gains trust. The
Hmm.
same thing goes for Big Brother in terms of nominations. I think voting to evict, it's kind of, you just go along with the house basically most of the time. And sometimes it's very divided, and you can gain trust with people by voting the right way. But if you make the right nominations, then that really puts a lot of confidence, because that's how people base their votes to evict. That's how they base the whole entire week. Like, are you going to put me on the block next week? And you can prove to them that you aren't.
Yeah. Um, I totally agree. we gotta move on. We've only done two, and it's been like 40 minutes or something.
Yeah,
Um,
whatever. Three. Pick number three.
my pick number three.
I know who
I'm
you're
gonna
gonna pick.
go. You know who I'm gonna pick?
Yeah, I think. I think I know.
You might not, but I'm gonna go with the other 22-year-old Zach.
Oh wow, I actually wasn't expecting that.
I know who you're gonna pick now. If you thought I was gonna pick her. Um, but yeah, I'm picking Zach because I think he seemed really likable. He reminded me of John Party, but not in a sense where he's like. I'm the one thing that like to me Zach's downfall and that I see is that he's really competitive, and I feel like John Party had that kind of like goofy sense to him. I feel like Zach can get like way too wrapped up in things. But like going through it, I feel like Zach knows he has to like downplay comps at first, and he just seems like a likable guy. He just seems like one of those guys that people are gonna like not really question. He's gonna like kind of float through for the first few weeks, and then he could potentially like a big player. That's
Yeah,
what I see.
I had Zach. I was gonna pick him next if you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that he seems like he knows what he's talking about. He seems like he knows Big Brother. He's a pre-med student, football player, kind of all-around great guy. Uh, although, if I think that, it's like people like Zach that make people like Kevin look like a little bit less of a threat because
Yeah.
Zach is kind of like, Captain America, and villains like potential villains like Godfrey and Kevin might be like, oh, everyone's gonna love Zach, so we need to get him out immediately. But I think that Zach is very charismatic and he's gonna be great at comps. I feel like he's a football player, so he's gonna be clutch in these POVs. And I think
He's a quarterback.
yeah,
So
he's a quarterback. And in terms of comps and
mhm.
comp wins, which definitely plays a big role in our fantasy draft, because
Yeah.
we can't assign points. Yeah, like we have to assign a majority of the points for comp wins and like
Hmm.
final placements. I think he's a great pick, and I see him going pretty far.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin is such a bold pick. I have to go with someone a little bit more safe. I really wanted to go with someone else, and it really kills me not to go with them, but I feel like Zach's a safe pick. A safe, good pick. He seems really well-rounded, so, yeah.
Yeah. So for my pick, the fourth pick, I thought you were going to pick Willow, but I'm going
Yeah.
to pick her. I
Yeah.
think that, I don't know, when I was watching a video, and I don't know, just something about her. She seems like she's going to be really likable. She has potential to be someone like Netta, who just like flies under the radar and then they just pop up and start making huge moves. And I I think that she kind of just, it's hard to explain. I just think she has like the it factor. Like I feel like she's going to be able to do it, And she could be like Shireen, where I feel like there's a lot. I feel like she's the improved Shireen of this season, where like she's all that we think Shireen was, but isn't for
Yeah.
Survivor. But
I don't know. Shireen burned me pretty hard again, too. So, I hope Willow does good. She says she's like a really big fan, so there's that. Um, she seems like to know the game a lot, and I really, really wanted to pick her, but I didn't think you were gonna pick her honestly, but I should have known better.
yeah, I think that like obviously a fear for Willow and a fear for like a lot of these women is that like for a potential twist like this, it was kind of like the reverse of Big Brother 10, where instead of voting someone as HOH, they vote someone to be on the block. They might just be like, oh, it's short girl that she seems kind of normal. Let's just vote her in. And to hear that she avoided that twist, she's probably not going to. She'll have POV. She could go home week one. I don't think America's going to hate her though. And I just feel like the first few weeks, if she can get through that, she's going to be in an alliance where I think she can be a strong person to like make a strong alliance within an alliance. She's not going to be the first person that they're going to be like, oh, we need to get Willow out first. I don't think. Um, so I have high hopes for Willow. Hopefully she doesn't let me down. I don't know if she's going to win a lot of comps, but
Yeah, she's
hopefully
a
she
good
wins
pick.
far.
I would have picked her next, to be honest. So
So for my fifth pick, this one's tough. It's kind of a gamble. I'm basically doing this for potential comp wins, but I'm picking Bobby.
wow.
I think that a lot of stuff, I don't think he's the biggest fan. He's not the smartest guy. But a lot of stuff stuck out to me. I think he's the type of person, he reminded me of Emmett a lot. He seems pretty sociable, pretty laid back. He was talking about his yoga, and he's like, yeah, if anyone wants to do yoga with me, I'm an open book. People can just hang out with me, do whatever. And I think that he's the type of person. I just see him like just sitting in alliance, winning some comps, doing other people's dirty work, and making it pretty far. I think he just seems like he's friendly, open, um, honest, and that can bite him in the butt. Hopefully it bites him in the butt later in the game after he wins a bunch of comps.
Yeah. He really, who he really reminds me of is Hayden from last season. He seems
Yeah.
like he got that type of personality where he's just like thinks he's like super outgoing and everything, and like he seemed like the thing about him I really liked that we didn't really get to see was he had a lot more to him than we were like than he was actually letting out and letting other people see. And I feel like Hayden could have been like a huge potential threat to win last season, but they got him out before he could do anything. And I don't know if Bobby has that, but he definitely has the same preseason vibe as Hayden.
Yeah, I think that Bobby, a lot of times, especially after the last Survivor episode, people have been debating if, being a super fan is actually helpful, if it makes you overthink. And I think he's going to have the perfect balance of just being like, hey, I'm on TV now. I can do, funny acrobatic stuff in front of the cameras. Like, I don't think he's going to overthink it. And once again, that can hurt him. But I'm leaning, obviously I picked him first, so I think that it's not going to hurt him. I think if I had to guess, I'd say he makes it to jury, hopefully.
Yeah. That's a good pick. It's a safe.
Yeah,
That's
it's definitely a safe one. I felt like Godfrey and Willow were a little bit, they're not the safest. So I wanted a safer one. But you have 6 and 7. So what are you thinking?
all right. My sixth pick is gonna be Johnny.
Wow. I mean, my first instinct with Johnny was that I thought he was just like he was just a little bit too like in my face in terms of just like with energy that I felt
Yeah, I
like
get
there's
that.
no way he can keep it up. But then once I kind of like thought more about it, Johnny definitely grew on me. I don't know if I
Yeah,
would have picked him this high, but I think that actually thinking about it more, I think he's a good pick. I think that people aren't gonna, gang up on him at once. He can win a few comps. He could be an underdog.
hmm
I don't see him being targeted early,
I
so
feel
I
like
feel like he's a good pick.
he seems. I don't know. Like he seems like he can get along with like a lot of people here. He's like obviously knows that game pretty well, and he seems like pretty enthusiastic about it. And I don't mean to like stereotype anything, but like is he gay, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but like I feel like he can like get in with the girls pretty well and stuff like that, especially with like people like Brittany who seem to be like super like into like all this like drama and stuff like that, and like I don't know, I just feel like I can see him getting along with like a lot of people here, and I can see him actually like winning a lot of comps. So he could do that.
Yeah, I see kind of like For some odd reason, I got like an Ian Terry kind of vibe. Like, I can just imagine like his short little like winning like a competition during a double event. I don't know. I just like
Yeah,
envision. I think that he's going to be someone who's unexpectedly pretty clutch in
yeah,
the competitions,
yeah.
and he's a big fan. I'm probably gonna. I feel like he's someone that we're gonna root for.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, he has a dog named Vito, which
I
is a
know.
cool
That's
name.
cool. That's cool.
So I think he's a good pick. I don't think he's gonna go anywhere the first few weeks, certainly.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
Um. Okay. And my next pick is gonna be Ashley.
That's a good pick, safe pick. I had her at exactly seventh also. So
Hmm.
I mean, I feel like that's the right spot for her to go. She is just gonna lay back and not do much. I think she's happy just to be there.
I think.
But she could end up like she could be like Jillian, getting a showmance, and then
Uh-huh.
somehow freaking win a few endurance comps,
Mhm.
probably get a ton of points, and then win the game. Like you never know.
She just seems like level-headed enough not to like piss anyone off for me, and she seems to like not take anything too seriously. And she also, I don't know, something about her. I think she's like pretty. She could be like pretty smart about things and stuff like that. And I feel like there's ever like a girl boy like HOH kind of type of thing, I feel like she could like win for the girls or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like she's calm and she's really sociable and she's likable, and basically, those are three things that like you really need in the Big Brother house. Like if you don't have the ability to be calm, like one thing we keep on talking about Will Kirby, but he really was just ice cold the entire
Yeah.
time. He was just like chill 24/7, and that is people like were attracted to him because of that. Like he's the type of person that people like are shaking, saying like, "Why won't you like freak out? Like you're on the block," and then they get backdoored, and then they go home, and he's just like sitting there with a smug look on his face. So I think
I,
Ashley kind of brings that to the table, where she's pretty calm.
I feel like the other thing about Will Kirby, it's like I don't want to like rant on about Will Kirby because we could do it for days, but like when he did show his emotions, like in Big Brother 2, when I think it was the last member of Town was like voted out. Can't remember. It was like Boogie's showmance, I think. But when she was voted out, he like started crying, and he wanted to make sure everyone saw that in him, because there's like something that draws people to you if like you're like stone cold and smug all the time, but you do have like this like deep emotions that people really want to find within you. And I feel like he utilized all of that to its like fullest potential, and that's what like really played with people's minds, and it was really smart. I don't know.
Okay, moving on in the draft. I'm really on the fence about these next two picks. These people could definitely be much lower on your radar. Like I had Johnny a little bit lower, but for my eighth pick, I'm gonna pick Brittany.
Okay, that's
I
a
mean,
that's a fair pick, like right around this area.
good because I don't know. Obviously, just like looking at her, um, she doesn't look like the most athletic person, so I'm not sure how she's gonna do in comps. Like the people similar to her in the last two Canada seasons in terms of their body type were Suzette and Sabrina, both of which were insufferable and horrible to watch. But Brittany just has like a radiance, like a glow. She seems really fun. She seems sociable. She seems like people are gonna like her. She seems pretty self-aware, and she's not. Even though she's a model, she's not. She doesn't seem pretentious at all, and she seems like she's joking around with the cameras. She seems pretty like loosey goosey. And I don't know, if I was in the house, I would definitely want to be in an alliance with her. She seems she seems fun to be around.
Hmm. I feel that. I feel like there's like two ways I look at Brittany. It's either like she could be, she's from New York. She's a New York model. She could be like super. I don't want like model like bitchy, or she could be like a really cool like nice person, that's like really um like into meeting people. It's weird to go from like Canada all the way over to like a different country to like work and stuff like that. And I feel like she's like already put herself out there and stuff like that. I just feel like she has that kind of experience where she knows how to like deal with a lot of people. So that I see downsides with her, but I also see like a lot of pros with her.
Yeah, I think that Brittany, strategic mastermind, no, probably never. I think it'd be a long shot for her. I could see her being. I don't see her really having the personality of Heather. I think that she's, I don't know, just seems more fun and lighthearted and like a better sense of humor. But I could see her kind of having maybe the type of game as Heather, where you're just like hanging back, really fun, positive in an alliance, and making it pretty far. I don't really get, strong potential winner vibes, but I definitely like her to be someone who finds a pretty strong alliance. And I think if she can make it to a certain point, then she's going to kind of, fall off the radar a bit.
Mhm. Yeah. So my next two picks hinge
Whoa,
on
whoa,
you
whoa,
guys.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. I have my ninth pick.
I know. I said my next two picks hinge on what you're about to pick.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't. I just thought you were saying my next two picks, and then I was like, hold the phone there. Um, my next pick. This is tough. This is tough. I like. God, I feel like you have like a different. You go to a different place in fantasy. Like you're like some mastermind who's like, I know this is gonna do this because you always fucking win these things. Uh, I'm going with Neha. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's kind of a weird name.
Which one? Oh, Naya. Oh yeah.
She seems like she's pretty smart, pretty savvy. I like didn't get that strong of a feeling from her. From my point of view, I feel like she's a pretty safe pick. She could be an early boot potentially,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I feel like she's gonna be okay. I don't like looking back on her. Like I can pin like, oh, Bobby's the adrenaline junkie. Willow, I really don't know Willow's profession. Brittany's the model. Godfrey's the psych student. I kind of forget what her thing is, but
Yeah.
um, I remember that how she talked. It was pretty. I don't know. I just felt my gut told me pick Neha ninth, so I'm picking her ninth.
I like. I don't see a lot of. Um. I wouldn't have picked her where you're picking her, but I definitely want her on my team because she reminds me kind of Sabrina. And even though Sabrina sucked and was arguably like one of the worst players, a Big Brother candidate too, like by far, maybe like right above Paul or something,
Mhm.
she made it to the second, and that gets you a lot of points on fantasy draft.
I mean,
You know,
what Nair kind of reminded me of Tala, not really in terms of. I feel like in terms of diary room, like aloofness and personality, they're not really the same. But I can kind of see her being a little bit. I don't see her being as annoying as Sabrina. Maybe as annoying or combative as Tala, but a little bit more respected than Sabrina. Sabrina is. I don't want to be mean, but she's kind of the lowest of the low in terms of like my feelings for Big Brother Canada players. Like I really hated Sabrina.
yeah.
But anyway, you have picks number 10 and 11.
Uh-huh. I
Shoot.
mean, I didn't think you were gonna pick Naya. I thought I could grab her at last second, like when you didn't want her.
I
But
mean, like there's people I actively dislike. There's many people I actively dislike, and there's only a few people left, and you might pick the last two right now that like I don't dislike, and she's one of the people I don't dislike.
Yeah. Um. All right. For my 10th pick, I'm gonna go with I don't know how to pronounce this. Pyler.
I like I don't know how to pronounce it either. I was like thinking of doing it with like some accent like Pilar, but
Pilar.
I don't know. When I like
Here, hold on.
when
I'm
I
gonna
when
look
I
up a video.
you know
See
when I
how to
watched the
pronounce it.
video, it's like she said like, "Hi, I'm Piley." It's like she said Piley, and I'm just like, "What the?" So
Kylie. We'll call her Kylie for now until we figure out her name. We apologize.
yeah, we have no idea. Well, we're not like I'm just gonna play the pronoun game. Just be like her, she, for this conversation. So what do you think of her?
I think her is pretty cool. Um, she's obviously not like high up on my pick, but there are things I like about her. I do see something there. She doesn't seem completely useless to me, and she seems pretty fit. She's young, 22. She could probably win a few comps and stuff. She seems like she said she grew up with 10 kids. That's a plus for me because she knows how to deal with like a lot of different types of personalities. And she moved from Mexico, and she's like a student right now. And I don't know. I think she could like have a huge downside because like the one thing I can see is her being like little too emotional, like kind of having outbursts or something. If like something triggers her, she will like. She seems like the type of person that will be like aggressive back towards it. And so I wouldn't want like that's the one downside I see of her. But I do see her like she can like she does have a lot of like pluses that I see where it's like oh she can be like super social and stuff like that. And I don't know. I'm just rambling. But what do you
She
think?
kind she kind of reminded me of Kristen Stewart, which made me not like her very much in terms of kind of how she looks. And I didn't think she seemed that comfortable in front of the camera. Just seems a little awkward for me. But when she gets in the house and gets settled in, I think that's when I'm really like we're really gonna tell a little bit more how like how she's gonna act. She was a kind of a
Mhm.
wild card for me. Like uh, I probably would have picked her around the same spot. I don't expect like that many big things. I think that uh, she could be like Rochelle and just sit back kind of in the Lions and not do much. But I think that she's a pretty good pick. She can win some comps. So yeah.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's. We don't really know. I can't tell with her. She did seem like kind of nervous in front of the cameras. So there's that. But I hope she can like. I don't know. She kind of reminds me of Ashley in a way where it's like, oh, there is like they're coming in, kind of barely knowing the game, but as we seen like last season, that can help them. You know. So there's that. Um. Yeah. My what pick are we on?
We're on the 11th.
11 pick. Alright, so we're in territory where I don't know if I want to pick these people. um, I don't know. I'm just gonna. There's a safe pick here, and I'm not gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with Jordan.
Wow, that is surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm shocked.
Really? Did you have him like last or something?
No, I had him before Cindy,
Yeah.
but I thought that I did. Is Jordan a big RHAP fan?
That's why I picked him. I know, and
Yeah.
he seems like a huge fan, kind of in our same boat. He seems super super cocky, but that could change going into the house. He seems to want to play like the little brother role to everyone, where he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll back you up, man. Never be in the forefront of everyone's mind. He just wants to plant little seeds. And I feel like he's smart enough to know to try to win comps and not make everyone think that he's trying to lose all the comps. I think I don't know. We'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see. There's.
I mean, I didn't even think of. I thought of him as just like, how the heck did this guy get put on the show? I think that he's personally, I think he's in over his head. I think that
Yeah,
he is. He can't even like. I don't even think he has his character straight for casting. I
yeah,
don't think that like just in his interview alone, he's just like, okay, is he the cocky guy? Is he like serious? Like, I think that he's just like, I kind of see through it. I just think he seems like super socially awkward and socially unaware. I think he's the type of person that's just when he gets into the house, he's just going to be overwhelmed with like these,
yeah,
more sociable people. And I think like him talking about like, oh yeah, I'm excited to be in a showmance, and like, oh, I'm like, I hate delusional people. He's like, but I'm the smartest one there. And this like, it's like, like it's like he was trying to be Kevin, but Kevin's actually Kevin. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So I
mean,
think that he's kind of a. I feel like he's a poser, and I kind of hope that he goes home around the same time as what was that guy's name? Um, in TV
was it
Canada
big?
1, who also wore the bow tie, who went home like second or third. This like I think he might have been Indian. I don't really know what his ethnicity was.
I don't know. I'll look it up right now. Um, but yeah. I don't know. Jordan can be a really dangerous pick because he's like he wants to be Frank Underwood. I don't know if like you watch House of Cards, but that's like the guy who's like president in like House of Cards, and like he's like a huge like manipulative like figure in like politics and stuff like that. And going in and wanting to do that is like way over your head. And he also wants to like cut everyone's throat. He's like, yeah, I want to like go in there. I don't care who throat I cut. I'm gonna cut everyone's throat and stuff. And there's like no like reason behind it. And it just seems like so like there's like they're threats, but they're not like backed up by anything. He seems like such a poser, like you said. And
I think that like I can't. I think the BB Canada casting. I respect them more, like to the point where I don't think they believe this. I don't think that resting on like this metaphor, this House of Cards bullshit thing that he like says this in every interview, and it's just like how did you get cast with like just like a few metaphors and then just nonsense words like yeah, I'll backstab, I'll do whatever. I'm a history major at like some. It's like I really don't get a strong sense of character, and I feel like they just put him on like to watch him flounder because it'd be fun to watch him fail. And because he's in over his head, like I can't imagine them actually casting him because they think he's gonna succeed in what he's saying. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, I know. I feel like he's gonna fail, probably pretty hard. But you could pull an Ian Terry. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, you were right. It's like a Neil.
Yeah, Neil. Thank you. I was looking for the.
But yeah. I'm. It's I'm like I'm already sweating on picking Jordan, but I don't know.
I mean, he could totally have like the Ian like if he's his true self, he
Yeah.
might turn out to be like an Ian Terry type of awkward underdog who eventually succeeds and we're all rooting for. I don't think there's a chance in hell he's gonna actually become the person he's like, putting out there in interviews. Like I feel like with Kevin, there's a much stronger possibility that like, he's actually gonna be like a big manipulator, and same with Godfrey. But with Jordan, there's no chance. Like I'm calling it right now. I do not see anyone falling for him. I think that people aren't going to take him seriously.
Yeah. I can see that. He very well might just like burn bright, burn, you know.
But
So
if I was on the season, I would be like, this guy's ridiculous. I'm taking him with me. No one's like, I'm like, why would I want to get rid of him? You
he
know?
could, yeah, he could be, you know.
And obviously it's impossible to. I'm not saying like he's obviously going to be voted off early. I'm not saying that, but like I don't think he's going to be a mastermind. But I mean, you don't pick masterminds 11th anyway. But anyway, going to pick number 12. Uh, I'm gonna pick Sarah.
Okay.
She seems quirky, fun. Uh, she's not currently on the block right now, which I think is good. And I think she knows Big Brother, and I think that she reminded me a lot of a Nick from
Yeah.
Baby Can 2, which is not a good thing. But, you know, I kind of see her. A Nick could have had a very different fate. She's not as weird as a Nick was.
Yeah.
And I think that she could. She reminds me a lot of Nicole, also, from BB16.
Yeah.
So I think that she could, you know, if she can have a Nicole-esque outcome, I would
Hmm.
be very pleased.
Yeah. She reminds me so much of a Nick. It's crazy. Like you can tell they casted her as that character. She says she's a fan, so that could be a plus. Um, I have this huge chart of like everyone's where it's like pros and cons of everyone. And for Sarah's pros, I just put a giant question mark because I honestly don't know. But she seems socially awkward to me. I don't know how well she's gonna do. If she survives the first episode, we never got to see how Nick actually played, so we could see a whole like different game. Um,
I
but
think
yeah,
Nick was like a little bit more in your face than I think Sarah's going to be. I think Sarah's weird enough where it's going to be funny and interesting to kind of keep around, like someone like Tala and like Nicole. Nicole got so much attention from guys, and you know because like they were making fun of her voice and how she said Hayden and all these things,
Kaden.
and then someone like Amber who um, who's like some like a model who seemed a little bit more stuck up. Those type of people, they weren't really. Other girls were threatened by them. I don't think girls are really going to be threatened by Sarah. I think people like Willow might find Sarah to be hilarious, and that's why I kind of feel like looking back on Neha as a pick, I don't know, people might feel a little bit more threatened by someone like her. But
Hmm.
Sarah could be weird and be the odd one out. I'm hoping that she lasts a few weeks and gets into Alliance and keeps them laughing and is doing goofy, funny stuff, and that's all that people really view her as. But, in terms of a 12th pick, I feel like I'm pretty happy with this.
Hmm.
So for my 13th pick, which is basically, I mean, the weird thing about this is that we both agreed that Cindy is going to be the last pick,
I don't
basically.
know. I might want to shake things up.
I mean, okay, but um, so I'm going to pick Bruno, 13th.
Solid pick.
It was either him. Actually, no. I'm not gonna pretend like it was close between the other people. I. I'm, I'm gonna say right now, I fucking hate Craig. I hate
Me
him
too, dude.
so
I hate
much.
Craig so
I
much.
hate him so much, and basically, Risha and Cindy are on the block right now. I hate Craig, so I'd be stupid to not pick Bruno at this point. I think that he's on the block right now. For all we know, I don't think he seems that smart. He's like he was talking about like how he's gonna lie to people about not telling him he's a black belt, not telling him he's like a world class gamer, and I don't really know what he means by that. Like
Maybe
um,
video games or
maybe
something.
video games,
He says he's a
Yahtzee.
construction worker though.
And he's a
So
construction worker, and I just feel like if you just chill out and like I don't know why you're talking like I'm gonna lie about this and that. Like no one cares about your black belt, dude, and no one's gonna think you're a threat. You're an older construction worker, and there's like a pre-med football quarterback, and then like a rock climber, and like you don't have to worry about that. You just need to worry about socially fitting in. So already right off the bat, I feel like he kind of is like not focusing on what he should be focusing on. And that's why, like, Derek was really, like, he knew that he had to socially really just fit in and really ingratiate himself in the group. And I think if Bruno can make that his number one priority, instead of trying to be a mastermind, then I think he's gonna do okay.
Hmm. Yeah. You know what's crazy? You know the guy that was locked in like the secret vault with like who was it, like Scott, and like what was the girl's name that entered the house last last year? I can't remember her name. Blonde chick.
Allison.
Allison, and then there was the other guy. You know, you
He
know what I'm
looks
talking about?
exactly like Bruno. Yeah,
He looks exactly like Bruno. It looks like Bruno's like his uncle or something.
dude, I feel sorry. I like that twist. We never talked. We started the podcast like just this, just like this year. So
Yeah,
we never talked about Big Brother Canada. But I thought that twist was like BS. Like it's like, oh, you three people were kind of cast on the show, but like you weren't good enough to be in the real cast. So we're just gonna put you as one of these three contestants that might get cast, and then the two of you who aren't cast are just fucking screwed, and you can't even apply next year. You know?
yeah. It was. I don't know. It's weird. There's this weird thing that like Reddit found on Big Brother Reddit, where they found like the cast bio for Scott that was like being uploaded on the Global TV like website like a few days ago, but then like Scott wasn't released with the cast. So maybe there's Scott coming into the game or something. I don't know. Maybe he's like I also heard he's having like a live party, so whatever. But yeah, that twist was stupid. But like about Bruno, I don't know. I think he's a safe pick. I definitely would have picked him, you know, right at that spot, or maybe even sooner. But because the rest of these people suck. So
Yeah, Craig is just fucking horrible. I hated him. He had the stupidest answers to everything. He has no
did
idea what
you?
he's talking about. I just don't like him. Like I don't think his personality is interesting, and I really don't think he has any business being in the house. But he could just be like oblivious and somehow make it pretty far. I have no idea.
Well,
I don't see
Craig.
that happening though.
We'll talk about Craig in a second, but Craig's fucking stupid. His
Yeah.
casting is like the three words he said to describe himself are passionate, emotional, and real. Like those are the fucking stupidest things I've ever heard anyone say when they like think that's like a good thing for Big Brother. It's I don't know.
Yeah, and I watched like these extra series of interviews, and it's it's just like questions like, you
He,
know,
he
he
literally
would just give like
finished.
one word answers like
He,
to everything.
he literally finished his interview in 30 seconds. That's why he's so low on my list. Because I was like, oh, Craig could be cool. Let's watch Craig's interview. 30 seconds long, and he's just like, yeah, yeah, I'm my weakness, I'm not very smart. I'm in line with someone else, and then I'm gonna do good comps. And that's it. That's all he says. Fucking retard.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, what makes you want to be on Big Brother? Like $1 million, like what would or like $100,000, like it's like, well, like why would it be a disappointment? Like what would make it a disappointment? Like not winning, or like it's not, it's already, or like I forget his fucking responses, but they were so stupid. I hate, like I don't want to see him in the diary room. I don't think he's gonna sound interesting. I hope he gets off early. My fear is
Yeah.
that he won't. And it's even someone like Jordan, who I don't like. I would rather have him like I just like really dislike Craig. But go ahead with your 14th and 15th picks.
14 pick. I actually wanted this person higher, so I'm glad I got her. But Risha.
I mean, like the thing with Risha is I really did like Risha. I thought just in terms of like personality, if I was in the house, I would get along with her a lot because she's like she says she's, you know, crude and sarcastic.
Mhm.
But just the fact that she's on the block now is pretty scary, and I just wanted to go with safer picks
Yeah.
ahead of time. But at this point, like it's between, you know, like her, Cindy, and Craig. So like you have to pick her at this point.
Yeah.
But I think that if she can obviously make it through this week, I think she's in a very good spot. She's someone I could potentially see myself wanting to trade for
Yeah.
later on. But I definitely
She
think she's good.
she has like this thing to her where like I don't know. The downsides are that she's kind of like sensitive, and she says she can be like emotional and stuff like that. and so I don't want someone that like can like have those like super outbursts. But she does know, like she knows how people perceive her, and she wants to play that like kind of older woman role, and like kind of like the momsy in the house, like Sarah did last season, and like that's why I kind of like her. Sarah got fucked over because she like was on the wrong alliance, but I feel like Risha could kind of do that with everyone and kind of like somehow be like a glue that no one wants to get rid of, you know?
Yeah, and I think that like looking back on Sarah's game, I think that she deserves a lot of credit. Like I really liked Sarah while
Yeah.
the show was going on. I thought that so often the older women in these shows are just ostracized immediately, and they have to play from the outside looking in. And I thought that Sarah socially did probably, one of the best jobs out of any older woman in the show. Even people like Rennie from season 10 who make it pretty far, I still feel
Uh-huh.
like they were still, socially like an outcast right from the beginning, and it was just kind of like a weird set of circumstances that brought her and Jerry to the final four or final five. I don't know if Rennie or Keisha made it fourth or fifth or whatever, but I think that Risha, socially, she seems pretty good. If I was in the house, I'd want to be friends with her. I think that people are going to get along with her. So hopefully, I don't think she's going to go home this week. I really feel like,
Well,
I don't know.
they said it was like by like a landslide. It was fucking Sydney. Everyone like basically everyone voted for Sydney.
I
There were a
wonder
few
how it,
votes.
I wonder how it worked. Did they show like on the screen like 14 votes this, 13 votes for this person, X, Y, Z votes, or
Well,
was it just like the two names?
they must have because it was a live audience and like what's the hostess name for Big Brother Canada?
Arissa.
Yeah, Arissa. She was actually like doing um like the opening stuff and like actually telling people what were happening because they were actually filming it and stuff like that. So they like did like they know who got who like who voted like who got the most votes and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I think it would be interesting if the people in the house, like if Sarah was pissed because, oh, I got like let's say Risha got like 8 votes and Sarah got 7, and like Sarah would, still be pissed at everyone. Like it would be interesting if it was like that rather than it just being like, oh, Risha with 9 votes, you are one of the people, and Cindy with 14 votes, you're the other. Assuming
Yeah.
that everybody got to vote twice, but I'm not sure how that worked. Um,
Here, let me find it for you here. So it says all their stuff is locked in a vault, and they have to like including furniture, and there's literally nothing in the house right now, and so everything in the loft, and they have to earn it back and stuff like that, and told they were all HOHs, okay, and the two who were named the most got nominated. So Risha and Sydney were put on the block, and and so they all had to make nominations, and so the people that they nominated the most were like going to be put on the block, and so was Risha and Cindy and stuff like that. And it says somewhere, I can't remember. It says like other people got picked. Maybe it's in the comments. But yeah, it was. It sounds. Oh yeah. So Risha, Bruno, Bobby, and Pilar or her. They got votes too.
Wait,
And
Risha.
And it says Sydney received the most votes by a long shot.
Okay, so Cindy, Risha, and who else got votes?
So
Pilar
yeah,
and Bruno.
yeah. So Sydney, it says like Sydney received
Yeah.
like all the votes by a long shot. So like she's like a whole class above everyone else. And then the people that actually got votes were Risha, Bruno, Bobby, and Pilar. So like maybe Risha like wasn't like that. She didn't have that many votes. It's just like oh maybe like just because like you have more votes than like Bruno or something, like you're gonna be like placed up. But we obviously don't like Sydney, so I
Yeah,
think
I
that's what
mean,
the message was.
hopefully, I mean, Sydney must have been really annoying. Uh, I think that if she toned it down more, it would be. I don't know why. In the last few seasons, it always seems like really weak people go the first few weeks, and you always have people like in BB Can 1, you had Suzette who like immediately nominated like Tom and Emmett, which is like huge. But I feel like the first few weeks, it's an opportunity to get some of the big people
Yeah,
gone. So I think that for a lot of people in the house, it would definitely be in their best interest to keep Cindy, but obviously you don't want to make waves. If there's a guy that's a threat that's not broing down, that doesn't have like an army of, other people, then, I would consider taking a swing at them.
yeah.
But, right now it's not looking good for Cindy. And if she's that annoying in terms of living, then I would vote her off myself if I was in the house.
I I feel like there are a lot of people that have that mentality, where it's like, oh, now's a chance to get someone big out, you know. And I feel like when you look at the cast, who do you see the big threat to win? I see Bobby. I like immediately like go to Craig, and I don't know. I feel like Craig is like on the hot seat from day one, and he doesn't seem like he's gonna try to downplay anything. He says he's gonna lie about being a baseball coach and says he's gonna work at Walmart or something like that. But I don't know. It's
I
just
think,
I really fucking hate Craig. I fucking hate. I don't want to pick Sydney though. I don't. Options.
and the thing with Craig is that like, even though he was a former baseball player, um, like you can still say that. You can be like, okay, that's why you got cast because you're a former baseball player. Clearly, you weren't successful. I've never seen you before. If you were that successful, you wouldn't be on Big Brother. You probably don't
Yeah.
have that much money, and you're just like a high school or college coach right now. Like, even if he just said like I'm a baseball coach, that wouldn't be lying, and that'd be fine. But saying like going to the point where like I'm a Walmart employee, which I gotta say is very believable coming from Craig. Uh, but it's just so unnecessary. So unnecessary.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Craig because he he does have that ability to win comps. He reminds me exactly of Devin. Not because he's a baseball player, but he just has like the same fucking like personality as him. I
I
don't
think
know.
that in terms of like Devin sucked. Devin was one of the worst players in BB16, probably the worst.
Yeah.
But Devin was entertaining and funny as hell, and I cherished the 3 weeks we had with Devin. But like for Craig, I don't feel like I'm going to be cherishing every week I have with Craig. Like I think he's going to be boring. Nothing. Like he's the stupidity of Devin minus the entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he seems so fucking lame. It's like there's like there's like a certain type of person you can be if you have like his type of like skills and stuff like that. But he just has the worst personality ever, and he's so freaking boring. And it pisses me off. He doesn't seem like he wants to be there.
No, and
That's the one thing that pisses me off.
I mean, it scares me because like apparently he was in the casting for BB2 and he was making it like BB Canada 2, and I
Uh,
think he acts like he was probably going to be on, um, but then he got in the car crash and like hurt his leg and wasn't able to be on the show. So like I'm scared that like he might have like John might have taken his place. Like he could have been in Big Brother Canada 2 instead of John Party, who was clearly like the better person because like former, professional hockey player, baseball player, kind
yeah.
of similar looking. I can see them falling underneath the same casting archetype, except for John was just like so much more entertaining.
John was so much better. But Craig's a big guy. He reminds me of Andrew a lot too from last season, where it's like he could play way too hard, way too fast. But I don't know if he's smart enough to even play hard in the first place. That's the thing about Craig. It pisses me off. And I just hope he really gets hard in those comps. That's the only thing I can hope for.
I don't know, I just don't know how he got on the show. Like some people, at least Jordan is making an effort to sound, appealing to casting people. Even though he's just using one metaphor, hanging on that over and over again. If Craig gave these few worded answers in casting, I have no idea why he's on the show, and I don't know why he would. If he didn't do that during casting interviews, why he would do that during press interviews right before the show, unless he's just fucking with everybody. He's ho ho ho, this is hilarious. I'm on the show now. I don't have to give a shit about anything. But he could be completely different once he's actually in the house. But all I'm saying is right now the Craig we see is absolutely horrible.
Yeah, everyone can be completely different. You have no idea how these people are going to be in the house. Your first pick last season was Zach, and I would have picked Zach first too, because Zach entertained me the most preseason, and Zach really played it up. But he sucked in the house, and he sucks after the house too. But
he
you
sucked.
never know.
He was awesome. I liked him in the house. Obviously, he was a bad player, but he just is a different type of sucking. He was entertaining and awesome in the house. It got to the point where he's I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna do whatever. I'll do whatever I want for as long as I can, which I don't really like. I like people, going back to Will, who, they're still playing to win. I didn't feel like Zach was playing to win at all. But I don't know. I feel in terms of Craig, he's the type of person that, sure, everybody can be different inside the house. I think that there is obviously the least chance of someone being that different. That person could be Craig. I don't see that much potential for a lot of change, which is why, you picked him basically last because, we know Cindy has, the most chance of going home. I feel if we had no clue who was on the block right now, would you have picked Craig last?
Yeah, I would have.
Yeah, I had him. I would have had him 15th. For some, I just hated Cindy, but I hated Craig more, but just because Craig's bigger and might win a comp. And baseball players they're pretty good at comps. A lot of it can be hand-eye coordination or endurance. And baseball players, they're might not be the most physical. It's not the most physical sport, but normally they're good at shit. They're good at completing oddball tasks that Survivor and Big Brother can throw at you. But I think in terms of a 15th pick, Craig might get you some good fantasy points, so I think he's good. I certainly don't want Cindy on my team, so.
Yeah, Cindy. I don't know. I feel like Cindy's definitely that type of person where someone's going to see how annoying she is and could utilize that to her full potential. Where they're oh, I'm going to keep her. I'm going to drag her with us. She's going to be our Sabrina, So there's that. But I don't know. She's not going to win any comps for me. The only thing I could hope for is good placement with Cindy, whereas Craig can win comps, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think that with this cast, if someone were to stick their neck out to try and save Cindy and use her, it could end up in a way where it works out nicely and they can use them like Derek used Victoria and Netta and John used Sabrina, and they can use them as a pawn throughout the game and as someone they might want to take to the end. But you saw in Big Brother 7 how Danielle that first week kind of stuck her neck out and was trying to let's make a move on this person. I forget who it was. and that kind of backfired, and she almost went home like week 1 or 2, and then
Yeah.
she realized like, okay, I just need to like shut up and lay low, and I feel like this cast might be the type of people that they're gonna be like, okay, is Cindy worth the risk of me putting a target on my back this early? And I think it's a universal consensus that no, she's not. I think if people were dead set on getting rid of Victoria the first few weeks, Derek wasn't going to stick his neck out for her. But because
Yeah.
it kind of went in a way where a lot of people wanted to use Victoria as a pawn throughout the game, Derek, was championing that a little bit more. He wasn't really sticking his neck out that much.
Yeah. Can I just say, I hope we don't have a Derek in this house, because that would make it so boring. But I want good TV. Do you like good TV, Magnus?
I enjoy a good television program.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like I definitely agree with that. Sydney's definitely last on both of our things, but could turn out either way. I mean, I want to ask you something. Do you think that Big Brother Canada would have been a reason if John Party had been, he didn't win that veto for the Final Four, and he was voted out instead of Heather, and Heather, Sabrina, and Netta went into the finals together, and Netta won? Would it still be a great season?
Would Big Brother Canada 2 still be a great season?
Yeah.
I'd say yeah. Yeah, I think that like if Netta won, people would be psyched. I
Yeah.
think that that move that John made against Netta made the finale, a lot more interesting, but certainly almost all the episodes leading up to the finale I really enjoyed. And
Yeah.
the move against Arlie, Allison's secret
Yeah.
veto, her instant eviction, even early on in the season, Paul's antics,
Mm-hmm.
and I really liked people like Kenny, but I also liked the fall of the first five alliance. I think that would still be considered a great season. I think
Yeah.
that
I feel like if Heather had won, Heather won the final HOH, evicted Netta, and took Sabrina, I would still think it's an amazing season, better than most US seasons.
if Heather won, I liked Heather. I was a Heather fan while I was
Yeah.
watching. I would have been happy still. Certainly, I'm glad it worked out the way it did. I thought it was pretty entertaining. I think Netta
Yeah.
deserved it the most, although I think that she's just a little overhyped. I respect Netta's game. I think she's a great player, by far the best player of that season.
Uh-huh.
Maybe her and Arlie were close. I really liked Arlie.
Can I say I feel like she's the best strategic player I ever played Big Brother Canada as of now. Would you agree
Yeah,
with that?
I would agree with that. I think that, obviously if we rate people on their potential, everything would be different. Netta executed in a way that Arlie wasn't able to do, and Arlie wasn't as good as laying low throughout the first part of the game, while Netta was able to kind of be the mastermind when it counted. Well, I felt like Arlie
Mm-hmm.
had lots of control for the first half. Netta kind of, gave up any
Yeah.
control and got control for the second half. But then you have people like Derek who were in control basically the whole entire time.
And that doesn't make for good TV, though.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't
I'd much rather watch Big Brother Canada 2 over and over than watch Big Brother 16 like once again.
Yeah, and I feel like in terms of Big Brother Canada 2, for Arlie, in the week that he got evicted, it was in Sabrina, Rochelle, and Allison's best interest to
Yeah.
keep him. So if we're thinking from like a strategic game, obviously he didn't do a good enough job of convincing them, but I feel like he probably did as good of a job as he possibly could have, and they were just stupid to not keep him. So obviously if it worked out in a different way, he could have won, and he could have clearly been the best strategist in Big Brother Canada history.
Yeah.
And I'm championing him so much because I liked him a lot. But I say with confidence that Netta, like looking back on everything, she's clearly the best player. It didn't work out for Arlie, so we have to give it to Netta. But I love Big Brother Canada too. I thought it was a great season.
I feel like Arlie, there's a reason Arlie was the last of his alliance left. Arlie's a great player. I love that. I love like the whole fall of like that's five and like Arlie and Netta coming in control, and it was just like a great season over. Like recommended. If I had to recommend any Big Brother season to someone, I would recommend Big Brother Canada too. As of now, um, maybe 10 or 7. They're both great, but Big Brother Canada 2 is so recent and so like it's like how like Big Brother Canada 10 or Big Brother 10 and Big Brother 7 kind of have like it's evolved past those strategies now. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like Big Brother Canada 2 is like a great season to watch if you really want to like get into Big Brother.
Yeah, I definitely
What was
agree.
he gonna say?
What do you
Oh,
think?
sorry.
Yeah, but like it cut off for a second, so I can hear you. Do you think
Hmm.
Marsha the Moose is going to be in the same exact spot as she was the last two seasons, or they're gonna wise up? And I mean, they kind of had like a double Marsha in a different room in Big Brother Canada 2, which was smarted by like the hot tub or something. What I just since we're done with the cast, in terms of like potential twists for the season, do you think they're gonna do kind of like the missions? Because I really enjoyed those little low stakes fun things that they did with those missions at Marsh of the Moose.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope she's not in the same spot. But yeah, because I'm gonna switch it up, you know. But yeah, I love those missions too. Of like um I love like them like picking like one person and stuff like that. But I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know. I can't tell what their like strategy is gonna be and stuff.
And do you think they're gonna do the instant eviction again this year?
Like, what do you mean? Like the Canada vote someone out?
No, like they do like the instant eviction where the HOH just nominates two people and there's no POV and everyone votes one
Oh,
of them out. Because I
um,
don't like that.
yeah.
I like having the POV,
I hope they don't have that, to be honest, because it doesn't make it interesting. It doesn't give anyone a chance to fight. So,
and I think that like I came up with the idea of like an idol for Survivor having the powers to Jeff throws the votes in the urn. Just visually it'd be cool. And the person with immunity, like everyone still competed in the immunity challenge, and the person with immunity would still be safe. And I feel like that idea could be cool for like one time in a season, or like one time in a few seasons, but with gaps where it isn't used. But I think for Big Brother Canada, they need a break and not do an instant eviction for this season.
yeah, I agree. I mean, it it's kind of like lame to be like do that and like do that. There's one thing I, like the what's it called? I can't
The
remember.
the coup d'état.
Coup d'etat. That that's like that does like much power as I want to give one person. Don't like make that one HOH nominate like two people and they can't even play. That's like totally unfair. I feel. That's like crossing a realm where it's like production's influencing it too much. You know.
Yeah, and yeah, I thought that like and is oh that's not what they're doing with this twist because there's a POV for this first one. Yeah, I think that the POV it's entertaining for people to watch. I think it's good for the game. It adds more drama and like why not? It's like I don't know.
Yeah. By the way, I think it said the people I read somewhere, the people playing in the HOH, it might be on the Reddit one again, but I know it for sure it's Kevin and Zach are playing in the veto, not the HOH, I'm sorry, veto. Kevin and Zach are playing for sure, and probably Kevin's not going to want to win that. And then Godfrey might be playing, and Bruno might be playing. They weren't sure about that. And obviously
Then
Cindy and Risha. So,
I don't think Cindy really has much of a chance because those seem like pretty, strong guys.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I know if I was on Big Brother, I would never get like I just know my luck. I would never get my chip drawn. And as much as I probably wouldn't want to win, I'd
Uh-huh.
probably like I don't think vetoes in certain situations they like I would throw power veto competitions because a lot of times it's just like way more of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Um, because I don't think you can get that much from like, oh, you didn't like you decided not to use the power veto, so one of the nominees is pissed at you and the HOH, and it's not like everybody else trusts you that much more.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it'd be fun to compete. I would want to compete in as many competitions as I can, just because like it's fun and you get so fucking bored, and especially in the U.S. one because like it's much more slower paced than
Hmm.
Canada. And, like Canada's 70 days,
Yeah.
and like Big Brother US was like 100,
It's
and that's like
90. I think 90 something is
it
the.
was like 95 or something. Like that's like
Yeah.
well, that's like a lot of extra time, especially being in like solitary confinement, like in that house.
Well,
Um,
like the thing about Canada that I love is they actually give them alcohol, which like makes things like really interesting. Like one of my favorite parts of Big Brother Canada 2 was Drunk John making like every alliance in the house, just being like, "You and me, we're in an alliance, we're in an alliance." And of course, he doesn't remember it the next day, but like there's still that connection that was made. And there's like, "Oh, does he? Is he actually in an alliance with me?" And I don't know, it was hilarious to watch. And John, like, I love watching John play.
yeah, I think that Canada, Big Brother Canada, just has like a different vibe when you're watching it. Like
Yeah.
it's not necessarily more goofy than the US one, and it's not necessarily more strategic than the US one. It's just like I feel like overall it's it combines the different aspects of Big Brother in a way that's less extreme. Like in Big Brother, it's like extreme strategy talk all episode, and then like a ridiculous diary room with Victoria doing something stupid, and it's like I feel like Big Brother can combine them in a way that Big Brother Canada combines them in a way that seems a little bit more real. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. I feel that. It, I don't know. It just maybe it's because like Big Brother US has gone through what like it would be 15 years now of
Yeah.
Big Brother, and so you know they've been through all this, and Big Brother Canada just feels so much more fresh. Everyone feels like so much like I love seeing all like these new faces, new players. Like they're all kind of like figuring out a lot of new things. Even the network is figuring out like how to like station like Big Brother like to its like fullest potential and stuff. And it's like refreshing to watch. It's like it reminds me of like the earlier seasons of like Big Brother US, but like that's like dated now and stuff. But it's like HD, and it's just I don't know. It's just like something about it just makes me feel like happy. Like it's like I'm reading like a new book for the first time or something. It's
Yeah.
good.
And Arissa, I don't know, just like the host, I really feel like it does matter. Like Arissa seems so enthusiastic that you can't help but be like, oh my god, Big Brother Canada is the best thing ever, and Arissa actually believes that it's the best thing ever. So I'm like excited too, and I feel like Julie Chen just couldn't care less.
Cool. I feel like Julie Chen really cares about it. I feel like I don't know. Just watch Julie Chen over the years. You've kind of seen that, but Arissa totally like she's always for it and stuff, and like I love seeing this like new face. I guess
Yeah.
Arissa's awesome. People say they don't like her a lot. They don't think she's as good as Julie. I like Arissa. I like her a lot. So.
No, I'm 100%. I think Arissa's better. But
Mhm.
so before we end the podcast, we've assessed the cast and everything, done the fantasy draft.
I think it was 2 hours long. This is a good podcast. Yeah.
There's the finished product. Um, what do you think about the season as a whole? Everything, you know,
I
what do you
think
think it's going to be like?
I don't know. I really hope kind of adds on to what Big Brother Canada 2 brought on and stuff, and all those like I'm saying, like it's still like evolving and stuff, and I hope it like adds on to that because like Big Brother Canada 2 was better than Big Brother Canada 1, so I hope this is like that adds something onto that too, and I don't want to like look back and be like, oh, Big Brother Canada 2 is obviously like the way superior one, and Big Brother Canada 3 was just a flop. I want it to be like a good, well-rounded season, and they seem to have that with like the antics that they're throwing in for the first episode. It's like, oh, it's not just all strategy. We're also taking everything from the house. You literally have nothing. I'm pretty sure they're taking like beds and everything. So everyone has to like compete to get like their stuff back and their suitcases and everything like that. I think that's cool, and like I want to see like I don't know, I want to see like a good Canada season.
Yeah, and honestly, like looking at this cast, it'd be controversial to say that it looks like it's better than Big Brother Canada 2 because everyone loves that cast, but I personally feel like the Big Brother Canada 2 cast, the season works out in a way that I think the elimination order is just perfect for the season. And I think that each person's character was really well brought out from the other characters. Like it just worked out in a way that I feel like it was best possible scenario. But I feel like
Mhm.
if this works out in, best possible scenario type of arc, it definitely has potential to be better than Big Brother Canada 2. I mean, I don't want to, us to say that, Big Brother Canada 2 was like the perfect season or that like it was very, very good, but I still think that there's room to grow, and
Yeah.
I'm optimistic about, I'm really optimistic about this season. I really like, just like the first four picks we had, like Godfrey, Kevin, Willow, and Zach. Like I really like those people, and I think there's strong people to root for already. And I think it's just gonna, more people will rise to the surface as the season goes along.
Can I say that I really hope Godfrey can pull it off and play as he's actually saying he's gonna play. I hope he like can actually like pull like crazy stuff off and not get caught. Because I feel like Godfrey would be like character to watch out for from like entertainment perspective and from a gameplay perspective. And I may have picked Kevin first, and I may have planned to pick Kevin first, but I'm really like Godfrey.
Yeah. So, you picked Max first for Survivor. He's voted off. But the thing that we both have in common is that we both picked gold Mike flares for Reddit. And I'm going to pick a Maple Leaf Godfrey flare because he's my first pick and because I'm rooting for him. And I don't know the flare statistics, but I'm seeing a lot of Kevins. Do you
Uh,
think you're going to pick a Kevin one going, mainstream or maybe a little bit to the side with Godfrey? Because
I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna pick for my player. I might pick Godfrey. There's a lot of Kevins. There's a lot of Willows. Um, yeah, I don't know. A lot of Kevins, a lot of Willows, some Dereks from last season,
I
one
think
Jordan.
I think that the
Um,
cool thing is that like they give you trophies for if you're right at the beginning on the Big Brother Reddit, and I feel like they should do that for Survivor. I don't know why they don't.
what do you mean they give you trophies?
I think they said like you have like I think that's what the people with like the diamond that says 16 next to their
Oh,
name. It's because they guessed the winner right at the beginning. Um,
well, I should have put Derek in then because he was my like pick to win last season.
yeah, and I feel like if Survivor, because basically right now, like if Mike wins, then I'm gonna want to pick a new gold flare for next season, but
Yeah,
I don't want to lose the other one. So I think that'd be a
I
cool thing
don't.
for them to incorporate.
I don't care.
I
I'll pick a gold flare every day.
I care
Um,
deeply. I'll take a
yeah.
screenshot of it. But I mean, I'm pumped for BB Can too. When like is the first episode tomorrow?
I don't know. It's soon. It's really soon. It might be like or something, but it's soon, and I think it's gonna be really cool. Yeah, my flare is already set to Godfrey for some reason, but yeah, I guess it's Godfrey. I might change it to someone that I might. You know what? I might. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it as Godfrey.
Yeah, I'm going with Godfrey also. But so do you think the podcast? I think Big Brother Canada isn't it Sunday, Monday? I think I saw something that said it's Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. So do you want to kind of plan on having weekendish podcasts
Yeah,
for?
sure. Let's do like Saturday podcast or something in the
Yeah,
morning.
I think that'd be cool. But yeah, pumped for the season. We're gonna, do another Survivor podcast this Thursday. We're really getting the, we're
Yeah. I hope
really.
this draft turns out better than my Survivor draft. Because
What are you
I feel
trying?
like,
You have like, first of all, three of my people voted on, and only two of your people. And I feel like Shireen, as horrible as the position she's in, she's gonna she's not gonna go home next because I feel like the season's gonna have to pick up and do bigger blindsides. Because they're like
Yeah.
Max has been hyping the season up, saying it's like the best thing since sliced bread, basically.
My spread's okay.
Yeah, sliced bread's pretty good. But anyway, so another great cast assessment. Pumped for the season. We're gonna be talking about it. I don't know really. I'm not good with technology or accessing live feeds. I'm probably not gonna watch many live feeds, but I'm gonna definitely get Twitter updates and try to stay in touch with what's going on in the house, so we can keep on having a lot to talk about. But we're gonna try and do this every weekend. Talk
Yeah.
BB Canada.
Well, it's confusing also because if you get live feeds for Big Brother Canada, you have to change like your where like your area is.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So there's that. But like you have to pay for it, even though the live feed's free, which is cool. Which I wish like Big Brother US did. But like I don't know. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still gonna pay for BBUS live feeds, but
Yeah.
whatever. But anyway, good podcast. Talk about Survivor this Thursday. Next week, wrap up what happened in the BB Can house. We're pumped. We're definitely pumped.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll see you next week. I'll see you Thursday for Survivor. But this is both seasons. I'm really pumped for Big Brother Canada up there.
And I'm feeling, I think our teams are pretty evenly matched. Like, I think the teams are looking okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll see you next week. Nice podcast. See you later. Okay, bye, dude.
See ya.